Let me ask you a strange question. If positive thinking didn't exist, would you actually be living a better life? It's kind of interesting to think about, isn't it? If you didn't understand or hadn't learned the concept of positive thinking, would you actually be living a happier, more positive life as a result? Hello and welcome to another Book of the Week review. This week we are reviewing the title The Antidote by Oliver Burkeman. This book was published in 2012 and it covers the concept of whether positive thinking actually makes us unhappier as people. In fact, the subtitle of the book is Happiness for People Who Can't Stand Positive Thinking. And honestly, that was the thing that attracted it to me the most. I found it when I was just browsing the self-help section in a bookstore and I thought, this is kind of provocative. I wonder what this is about. Well, I bought the book, I read it, and I gotta say, he has some very interesting points to share. The premise of the book is pretty interesting. It is that basically trying to be too positive in your life gets in the way of actually being a happy, fulfilled person. There's a great quote at the beginning of the book by Alan Watts that says, insecurity is the result of trying to be secure. And I think that's really the encapsulation of what Oliver Burkeman is getting at, is that trying to be too positive or attempting to be too happy is what makes you unhappy in life. Now, I have underlined a ton of sections in this book, so I'm not going to spend hours going over them, but I will share with you 3 important concepts that really stood out to me as I read The Antidote, that made me think differently about how I approach positive thinking and what self-improvement really is about at the end of the day. The first concept I want to share from this book is something that Burkeman calls the negative path. And this is essentially letting go of the need or the desire to seek happiness for its own gain. The big trap of positive thinking, I believe, is that it makes you somewhat into a fake version of yourself. And Oliver Burkeman actually talks about this in the book, where he goes to motivational seminars and he sees people getting hyped up and cheering and whatever, but as soon as the seminar's over, they go back to being their real self. I'm sure you've experienced this in your life at times. I certainly have, where I've tried to force myself to be a certain type of person, and in the end, I just feel fake and I feel like I'm not really living my own life. I'm living a cardboard cutout version of who I think I should be. Instead of trying to spend all your time becoming happy, just decide to be happier and be more present with whatever experience you are in right now. If you aren't feeling great about yourself, don't feel great about yourself. Experience that for what it is. Instead of trying to shove down negative emotions or push them out of your life by being too positive, instead, just focus on where you're at and live that experience, and it will make life much richer. Another really interesting concept is where he talks about goals, and he shares the idea of, rather than setting goals to try and get something, set goals to grow, to become a better person just for the joy of experiencing the growth. Not having goalposts, but just having growth as the goal makes a big difference to your enjoyment of the journey, and also it usually gets you the result a lot easier than trying to punish yourself just to get something or to reach a certain level. Of course, this is super counterintuitive because we all think if we want to achieve something, we need to write it down, we need to have a date, we need to have a specific action step, whatever it is. And that isn't a bad thing necessarily, but if all you do is obsess about getting the end result, you will find you have to torture yourself through the whole process. And what Oliver Burkeman talks about is setting goals to grow actually makes you a more fulfilled, more rounded person. And it makes the journey a lot more fun than just trying to get somewhere quicker. The third idea that I loved in this book is embracing the insecurity of life. And this kind of goes back to Alan Watts' quote in the beginning, but the idea is that life is not very certain when you think about it. We all don't know how long we have to live. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, especially the last couple of years in the world have shown us that nothing is really that certain. In fact, the desire to seek security or certainty is one of the biggest core reasons that most people are unhappy. They're looking for something to tell them that everything's going to be okay. The idea of becoming a success, of becoming famous, of becoming recognized in some way in the world, or respected or loved or whatever it is, a lot of the time we're seeking security underneath that result or that goal that we're looking for. So if you can learn to embrace more of the insecurity in your life and let go of the need to be 100% secure all the time, you will probably find that life opens up a lot, you have a lot more fun experiences, and you just enjoy the process a lot more. As I said in the beginning, this book really caught my attention because of the title and the subtitle, and I'm very glad that I spent the time reading it. Oliver Burkeman is an excellent writer. He's funny, He's clever, he's got a lot of great anecdotes, and you really have to give him credit for putting himself out there and trying out these things for himself. And if you're a fan of self-improvement or personal development like I am, I think you will actually get a lot out of this book, and it will start to redefine some of the frames that we tend to put around ourselves when it comes to being positive or trying to improve ourselves, and actually starting to realize that life is okay as it is, and that you're already living a rewarding experience just as you are. So that's my review of The Antidote by Oliver Burkeman. I'd recommend checking it out if you haven't. If you have read it, please leave a comment below and share what you thought of the book, what you gained from it as well, because it is a very interesting kind of counterintuitive self-help personal development title. My name is Daniel Minson-Short. This has been Book of the Week Review. Thank you for watching, and as I always say, thank you for improving yourself.